There's a question someone once asked you that's been bothering you for days, not because it was difficult to answer, but because deep down you felt there was something wrong with her. A hidden intention, an invisible weight in her words. And even without being able to name what was happening, you left that conversation feeling smaller than when you went in. This was no accident. Most people never realize it. But there's a form of control so sophisticated, so disguised as genuine curiosity that it goes completely unnoticed. It's not shouting. It's not threats. It's questions. Simple, polite, even affectionate. Sometimes, and that's exactly why they're so dangerous. Think about the last time someone asked you, why did you do that? Or, do you really think that's a good idea? Or even, doesn't that seem a bit much? It seems innocent. It seems like self-interest. But psychologically, something deeper is happening. These questions weren't asked to understand you. They were asked to make you start questioning yourself, to make you doubt yourself, to make you need to justify yourself, defend yourself, explain yourself to someone who, in fact, had already decided what they thought about you before you even opened your mouth. This has a name. Psychologists call it dominant questioning. And it works because it activates something very old within us, the fear of being judged, the instinct for belonging, the need for approval that we carry from childhood. When we had to explain our mistakes to the adults who controlled our world. And this is where everything changes. When someone asks a question with the intention of controlling you, they're not looking for an answer. They're creating a linguistic trap, because any answer you give will be used against you. If you justify yourself, you confirm that you need approval. If you remain silent, you confirm that you're wrong. If you retaliate, you confirm that you're defensive. It's a prison built with words. You've been in that prison before. I know. Everyone has been. There's that person who always asks about your choices with a tone that seems concerned, but is actually judgmental. They ask about your relationships, your job, your body, your money, not because they care about you, but because each of your answers feeds something within them. A sense of superiority, emotional control, a position of power. Intelligent people realize this immediately. But even when they realize it, they still respond. Because we've been taught that silence is rude, that not responding is impolite, that we should be open, transparent, and accessible. And that's exactly what has made us vulnerable. Most people never realize it. But the need to explain ourselves is one of the deepest forms of emotional dependence. When you feel you need to justify your decisions to someone who didn't ask for your opinion, you're not being honest. You're being controlled. Think about how this manifests in your closest relationships. A partner who always asks where you went, with whom, why, for how long, with a tone that isn't curiosity but surveillance. A colleague who questions your every decision in meetings, not to improve the project, but to publicly belittle you. A family member who asks about your life choices with that soft voice that hides a sharp criticism. None of them are attacking you. They're all smiling. And that's what makes it all the more confusing. Because you leave that interaction without having been attacked, but feeling like you've lost something. A part of your certainty, a slice of your self-confidence, a portion of your peace, and then comes the guilt. Because you think, maybe I'm too sensitive. Maybe I'm exaggerating. Maybe the person just wants to understand. No, you're not exaggerating. What you felt was real. Psychologically, we detect the intention behind words long before we process their content. The body knows. The stomach tightens. Breathing changes. There's a subtle tension that we can't rationally explain, but which the nervous system registers with surgical precision. That feeling you ignored for so long, thinking it was your imagination, was actually your emotional intelligence trying to protect you. And this is where everything really changes. The antidote isn't learning to respond better. It's learning not to respond. It's understanding that you don't owe explanations to curiosity disguised as control. That explaining your life to those who don't deserve access to it isn't honesty. It's submission. There is a stark difference between a question asked with love and a question asked with power. A question asked with love expands you. It makes you think. It opens you up. A question asked with power constricts you. It puts you on the defensive. It makes you feel small. Learn to feel that difference before you even open your mouth. Because the person who asks you a question with the intention of controlling you isn't interested in your answer. They're interested in your reaction. They want to see you hesitate. They want to see you justify yourself. You want to feel like you have power over the narrative of your life, and every time you respond, you surrender that power. Most people never realize it, but strategic silence is one of the most sophisticated forms of psychological self-preservation. It's not escape. It's not cowardice. It's the refusal to participate in a game that was designed so that you always lose. You don't need to explain your choices to those who won't respect them anyway. You don't need to reveal your intimacy to those who will use it as ammunition. You don't need to be transparent with those who use your transparency to control. Some questions don't deserve an answer. They deserve silence. And sometimes, just a look that says, I know what you're doing. Because when you stop responding to control disguised as curiosity, something extraordinary happens. The person loses power, because their power has always depended on their need to be understood, accepted, approved. And when you remove that need from the equation, the control crumbles. You don't need to be rude. You don't need to become cold or distant. You just need to stop thinking you owe an explanation to everyone who asks a question. Your life is not a courtroom. And you are not in the defendant's dock. People who truly love you don't need to interrogate you to understand you. They observe. They trust. They ask when the question arises from genuine care, not from a need for control. And in the end, the most important question you can ask yourself is not, how do I respond to that? It is, why do I still think I need to answer? This answer is yours alone, and it doesn't need to be shared with anyone.